is what you're made of. You are perfect and pure, even if you're not sure. It's what you're made of. L-O-V-E, love.
We have a blueprint. Good to see you. We have a blueprint for living. We just have to focus on it. We have to align our attention on that. It's great to see you guys, by the way. It's great to join with you. Welcome, Mary Lou and Jody. I love you guys. I missed you 2 weeks ago when you were here. We were off celebrating our anniversary, and I heard you guys had one recently. Yep. How many years? 6 years?
No, 7.
7 years of marriage. It is so awesome. Mary Lou used to be the interim minister here, right here, Unity on Cape Cod. It's amazing. And now they live in North Carolina. We're so great to have you. We're still connected. We're always connected in spirit. Today we're going to be talking about aligning our focus, aligning our energy with the solution, with the truth. So much of the time we spend focused on our problems or the perceived causes of our problems or all the problems of the world. And it gets us very stressed and filled with anxiety. And then we don't really have an effect on solving any of those problems because we're too stressed out. We're not operating at our full capacity. And a lot of times we just give up. And I don't want you to give up. I want you to be enlivened, empowered, and strengthened today. I want this to be a day where you remember who you are. You remember that you have power. You remember that you are perfect just the way you are, that you are not only worthy, you are cherished. And we need your individual expression of the divine in this world. Absolutely need you, just the way you are, to remember what's inside and to stand in that power. So, acceptance of what you're experiencing in life is very important. Acceptance of how you're feeling. Acceptance of your emotions, of your thoughts, of what's going on within you. That's important. But if you want to solve, if you want to evolve, let's say, I'll say, this is a great rhyme in my head. If I want it to be solved, I must be evolved. Right? You're going to evolve to solve. So if we want to evolve past our current situation, aligning our focus with a spiritual solution becomes essential. Shifting our focus of our thoughts to eternal truths. That's the first thing. Cultivating positive energy, positive emotional energy, emotional response to everything. A positive response to what's going on, no matter what it looks like. You're going to be the change maker. You're going to break the cycles. You're going to break the cycles of trauma. You're going to break the cycles of oppression. You're going to break the cycles of racism. You're going to break those cycles of suffering in the world. First, because you have acknowledged within you that you can change what's going on in here completely. To be in alignment, your focus now is in alignment with your true self. And then you energetically give everyone else permission to do that, everyone around you. And they don't have permission to attack you. They don't have permission to abuse you. They don't have permission to enter into your space unwantingly with negative energy, because your energy is so powerful. You're creating a space of positive emotional response to the world. This is important because what's happening right now is that we get sucked into stories. We get sucked into newsreels. We get sucked into social media. There's this thing called trolling. I don't even know what that's all about. But there's something negative about you to get you to respond to it. to get you all upset about it. And they have bots doing it. It's not even real people 90% of the time. It's a computer generating these negative things that you respond to. It gets your energy, your emotional response going. And it's negative. It's hurt. Who's it hurting? Right. I'm hurting myself. It's really amazing. And so this is an apparent problem of the world that we seem to live in. But once I begin to experience a little bit of healing and wholeness within myself, have a real, authentic experience that I can use as a reference for any situation, that's where I go. I go to that real, authentic experience of healing, of connection. That's where I go in my mind. You see, we really only have one problem and one solution. And I say this all the time. Our only problem is separation. A false sense of separation from one another and from all that is, from creation itself, from nature. This false sense of separation is our only problem. Every problem ever faced in the past, ever facing humanity today, or possible of being faced in the future, is merely a symptom of the core belief that we are separate from one another, that we are separate from creation. It's the root cause of every single trial or tribulation, every single mistake or manifestation of what we call evil that we could imagine. This one mistaken core belief in separation. So are we clear about what the problem is? Yes? Separation? Yeah. I know, it took me a while too. But if I got one problem, I can focus on one solution. Do you have any ideas of what the solution might be? Love, that's a good one. Acceptance. Great. Anything else? Presence. Who said that? Very good. Whoever said that. Presence. Anything else? Gratitude. Thank you. Forgiveness. What did she said that. You didn't say it? Gratitude, forgiveness, love, acceptance. These are all amazing vehicles to get to the solution. That solution being our return to oneness. The real experience, authentic experience of returning our consciousness to the reality of oneness. Not just the concept. Not just a fancy word you say when you come to your meditation group. Not just something that brings you comfort, although it will, in concept, before you sit down and meditate in the morning. But a real authentic experience of it. The actual experience of connection to all that is. Because without that, my love for you seems to get forgotten. My acceptance of you goes out the window. My gratitude, I don't even know what I'm should be grateful for anymore because my mind's focused on all the things that are wrong with the world or they're going on in my life that are wrong or out of harmony. So my alignment, the alignment of my consciousness is shifted to so-called problems, so-called separation. My alignment gets shifted so easily. If I can focus and align my focus with this solution called experience of oneness, love will be easy. I will love you as my default response every time. I will be grateful for every single thing that happens. You notice how some people say, oh, it's going to rain today. And other people say, yay, it's going to rain today. Boy, I don't have to water the garden. This is wonderful. I love the rain. Negative ions, man. Everything's getting watered. We need the water table to rise. I'm so glad it's going to rain today. And on and on and on. And even the so-called really negative things are showing us what we need to heal. We stand up here after service every week and we sing, "Let there be peace on earth." And we forget the second part. Let it begin with me. I need to feel that peace before I can give it. And Kevin mentioned something very important, forgiveness. Marianne Williamson says forgiveness is the greatest contribution we have to give toward creating a peaceful world, because angry people cannot create a peaceful world. Amen. Forgiveness is the greatest contribution we have to creating a world of peace. And forgiveness is an aspect of love. It's a way of demonstrating that agape love. You see the God or the light, the divinity in your neighbors, no matter what they're presenting to you. And it's not always easy, because we have a story. Oh, it's going to rain. I'm going to get wet. I said this the other day. My bicycle's going to rust. Oh, we're going to have floods. I don't know. It's just on and on and on. But it's a shift of your focus. It's just an alignment of your focus. My story is this: when it rains, the water it comes down in the ground, it goes through the foundation, and it gets in the bathroom downstairs. John's laughing because he helps me vacuum up the water quite often. And it's a constant process. But you know what? It gives us projects to do around here. It gives us something to do. It keeps John and I out of trouble. We have to fix the foundation now. Wow, what an opportunity. And you know this is a great thing about modern technology, is I just YouTube it. If I don't know how to do something, you guys do this all the time, I can tell. You just look it up on YouTube. And it's like it could be the first time you ever do something, but it's in detail of how to do it, what tools to use, what to buy. The one thing they didn't add was you need a John Rosario to help you. That's going to be my YouTube video. You find a kind and trusted friend to hang out with while you do that project. That's going to change your life. Because it's not just about doing things here. It's not just about material success. It's about how we grow internally and emotionally, and how we discover our divinity. And the best way I learned to discover my divinity is to see it in you. And the only way I'm going to see it in you is to hang out with you and not attach you to a certain group and attach that group to a certain definition that I see on social media or on the mainstream media, whatever. You're not a label. You're not a group. You're not even just a person. You're an individual expression of God that I need in my life. Brene Brown said it's very hard to hate somebody close up. We need to hang out with each other a little more. Get to know one another. Listen to one another. Pray with one another affirmatively. Focus on the solution. So, when we see joining and connecting and loving our neighbor as our solution, it's going to become a lot easier to shift away from separation and to heal that collective mind of the human race. We have to see that that is our solution. Jesus said, love your neighbor. Love God, love your neighbor. It's not difficult. That's all you need to do. It just seems so simple, but we miss it because it tends to go against our ego needs, perceived needs of the ego. All of those needs of the ego require this core belief in separation. It requires you being outside of me, not part of me. And so we need to change that. And we are changing that. That's why we come here. That's why we have this place called Unity and why it is so important in our lives. Is because we're changing what's going on within. I like to call it our inner landscape. When we change our inner landscape, when that changes, our world begins to reflect that consciousness in manifestation. Absolutely is going to manifest out there what you are holding in here. When our consciousness is one of divine relationship to the first to the whole, what you might call God, I just call it the whole of creation, and then to your neighbor, something happens. Your world, your personal, individual world begins to reflect that. And then it starts to expand. And I love this because you can play a game with yourself. How much of this divine essence that I am can I expand in the world today? Just take it one day at a time. Don't worry about the problems. Focus on the solution and expanding the divine that's within you. That's all we can really do. And when we find ourselves doing something else, we can stop. If we find ourselves reacting, there's many things we can do. One of them, most recently, is I listen to my wife. Wow, guys! How many times you try to escape from that? Stop and actually listen. Guys and gals, sorry. Listen to your wife. She has something, she's been doing this thing called self-compassion. And there's going to be a beautiful program here on Saturday mornings for 8 weeks. It's called Self-Compassion, How to Live Without Hurting Myself. Because I realized I was just hurting myself. All of my judgments, all of my focus on the problems, all of the negative energy was just right here. Oftentimes you've got something going on in your head or you're talking about other people and they're not around. They're not hearing anything that you have to say. Who's listening? You are. You're talking to yourself. Fill your mind and your heart with positive words that affirm your worth and your worthiness and your beauty. Fill your mind and your heart with the truth about yourself, of how amazing you actually are. Because you are. You are an amazing expression of the divine on earth. And I'm going to say it again, and we need you. We need that. Amen. And we need you to stay focused on how much you are loved, how much you are appreciated, how much you bring to the world. No matter who you are, or where you find yourself, you have an opportunity to bring the divine into this moment. And I would say you are free to do so. I keep looking at this daily word that says free. Amen. Nothing's stopping you. You're free to do anything you want with your mind. You're free to do anything you want and say anything you want. Why don't you say and do and think things that are of the truth, the eternal truth that you are. Watch your life change and watch it manifest around you. See, this is the third principle of unity, that we pay attention to our inner landscape because it becomes our outer landscape. We create our experiences by the activity of our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning within you, within your consciousness. At least everything you're experiencing. So it really makes sense to stop and be mindful of what's going on inside. It really makes sense. It's very practical. Because when I can change my inner landscape, the outer landscape is going to take care of itself. And we like to join together with others who are doing that. Because our community begins to take on that wonderful glow of spiritual energy that Wes was talking about. And I think that's the most important thing for me right now in these times, is to align my focus with the eternal truths of oneness, speaking words of kindness and connection, and living in sacred relationship to all creation. It's not difficult when you decide to do it. If you want it to be your experience, you have to start with your own consciousness. When we see joining and connecting, loving our neighbor as our solution, then it's going to become very easy for us. Our way shower, Jesus, Yeshua. I love, John said Kevin came up with something. Yeshua means, yes, you are. Yeah, you are divine. You are the Christ. You are holy. You are perfect. You just aren't accepting that for yourself and demonstrating that in the world. You're letting the world tell you who you are instead of the other way around. Demonstrating your own divinity. So our way shower, who showed us this, gave us clear direction in the manner of reclaiming our awareness of our shared divinity. He said in Matthew 25 that when I was hungry, you gave me food. This is just practical direction. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. When I was a stranger, you welcomed me in. When I was naked, you gave me clothing. When I was sick, you took care of me. When I was in prison, you visited me. And he says, truly I tell you, just as you did it to one of these least of my brothers and sisters, you did it to me. Now, curiously enough, I used the translation from the NRSV version of the Bible. And in that version, this story is called The Judgment of the Nations. This is how we are to form our communities and our nations, from this guiding principle. That what you do to the least of these, you're doing to yourself, or you're doing to the Christ in you and in others. And it's exactly the opposite of what we are doing as a nation right now. And yet, my friends, listen, the solution remains the same. To connect with oneness individually and in consciousness and in action, and to teach only love, no matter how difficult it might seem. To teach only love. We must align our focus and our hearts and our minds with the solution. We can focus on the problem all day long and nothing is going to change. We have to acknowledge it, yes, and we have to acknowledge our feelings, and we have to talk about our differences. But the thing that won't ever change is the spiritual evolution of the human race. And if you want that to accelerate in you, and you want to stop hurting yourself, you will stop judging others. You will begin to forgive, to accept, to love, to cherish, to be grateful. And all those things which you mentioned at the beginning of the service, you'll begin to do that because now that's your focus. That's what you want to do. Above all else, you want to love your neighbor as yourself. So let's get out and do it. I love you.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at unityonCapeCod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.